Hey baby face painters, it's Ciara with Ciara's Bug Art. I made this video specifically with beginners in mind, so I don't even really want you to think about your first event. If you have your first event already lined up, that is awesome, but today's video is going to be going over more of the basics. But if you're still in the practicing stage or you haven't even bought anything, I have everything lined up for you today. If you already have a starter kit, feel free to skip to the next segment of the video. I will include a timestamp right here for your convenience. Okie dokie. If you do not have a starter kit and you have no idea what to buy, or maybe you have kind of an idea what to buy, but you just want some more opinions, I have you covered. My favorite brand for sponging is going to be Superstar face paints. Most of what is in my kit is Superstar with the exception of a few. The reason it's my favorite for sponging is because it's a glycerin-based face paint, which means that it's very soft to the skin, so it's perfect for that base layer because it's going to move more comfortably. So if you've ever gotten face painted and you felt itchy before, this is why. It's because it was not a glycerin-based face paint. Instead, it may have been a wax-based face paint, which Craze, Wolf, DFX, those brands are all wax-based, which just means that they're a little bit crisper lines, which are great for line work on top of our sponged base. So glycerin first, then wax. That's gonna give you a really beautiful outcome, and you know what you're using your tools for. You're not just kind of buying things willy-nilly. So what I would really recommend is a Superstar 12 color palette. There are a couple different colorways of this on the website. The one that I think would be best for a beginner is the Svetlana one, just because it includes a really bright red that I didn't see from some of the other ones. A fun story, back in 2020, when everything was going down, my car got stolen, and one of the things that was in my car was my face painting kit. And unfortunately, a lot of my face painting stuff got stolen. I had a couple of stencils left behind, but I was just so traumatized by the entire event, like the entire happening, that I threw everything away. It just felt so violating to think about somebody taking my paints and trying to sell them to other people, that the leftover things, I should have just sanitized them to save money, but I threw everything away and I started from scratch in 2022. When I started from scratch, I bought, I believe it was the Fairy Tale Superstar 12 color palette. The only issue I ran into with it was there was no bright orange for tigers and there was no like bold red for Spider-Man. The red that's included is a little bit more pink based. So, I mean, it would be great for little girls. So if you're just painting your daughter or something, I think that would be perfectly fine. But if you plan to paint for events, I would highly recommend the Svetlana one. That one was not out at the time, otherwise I would have purchased it. When it comes to the face paints themselves, I would recommend some kind of rainbow one stroke. I'm trying to keep this as minimal as possible and keep everything under $100. $100 is still a large chunk of change. So the one I have right here is a Superstar rainbow cake. Let's see what color it is. I have duct tape and magnets all on the back of mine, just so that way things don't move around in my kit. Again, this is so extra. If you guys are interested in magnetizing your kits once you get there, just let me know and I'll make a video about it. But I figured starting from square one would be a really good place. This color combination, I believe it's called Little Rainbow. One recommendation I do have for you guys is to not overbuy, because these face paints have a lifespan. It's about 12 months, maybe 18 months, depending on the type. Starter kit, perfect. They're kind of small, but once you use it up, you know that you can get a larger size of that color and it's a worthy investment. The one that I included in the link, just because it was the only one I saw available in stock currently, was the DFX rainbow. You can pick any one you like. Make sure you get a rainbow, because the rainbow itself is going to be really important for rainbow designs, and I would say that's one of the 10 designs that you want to master before you go into your first event. Last thing when it comes to paints, I would say if you can afford it, buy an extra white and black. If you can't, don't buy the black. I say buy the extra white. You're gonna run out of white first. The Svetlana one includes a white, but I promise you during practice, you're gonna run out of that first. do not go to Michael's and buy, what's the brand? It's got a blue base and it's not very good. If you can buy it at Michael's or the grocery store, don't. Just pay the $5 shipping and order it on facepaint.com. Art Factory, Just Paint, those are all great websites to be using. I just think facepaint.com has the best like beginner options. And the $5 shipping fee is honestly not too bad at all. If anything, when it comes to white and black, buy the white. Doesn't have to be Craze. Got sent some free product from Craze, which you can use my code BugsFacePaint15 if you want to save 15% off. If you don't, doesn't bother me, but if you do, I do get a small cut, so thanks. Goes towards my paint fund. So next you're gonna need some tools to apply the face paint. Personally, I really like sponging for my base. Some people just do one stroke for the base, but as a beginner, I say to sponge. Sponge with those glycerin paints. So any of those Superstar ones you got, they are gonna be perfect for sponging. And so you're gonna wanna buy a pack of sponges. You could just start with one because you can cut it in half and get two. Personally, when I'm working on children, this is what I like to use. However, when I do a skull or anything that's really full face, so like a tiger, I do like to keep the half moon ones just because you can get a lot of coverage very quickly. But for the most part, you are only gonna need quarter size ones. And I would say if you're watching this video and you have an event coming up soon, so you already have something lined up, maybe you're volunteering for a church or a school, go ahead and buy that 8-pack and then you can cut them up and you get 16. Now, if you know you're gonna be painting 40 children, you wanna have one sponge per child. You can also, here's a hot tip. I learned this recently. Go to the dollar store and buy a giant sponge for cleaning and cut them up into pieces. Doesn't look as professional and they do stain. I prefer the black ones because you can't see the staining quite as much. Like you can always tell that this is a fresh sponge and this is a used one. With these like lighter color ones, you run the risk of them staining and then it looks like you're using an old one, even if it's a clean one. But again, if you're just doing a school or fair, not a big deal. Or you're painting your own children, not a big deal. So this list I have linked below, so you can go ahead and click on all of the items and check them out. Of course, face painting is very personal, so if you don't want to get exactly what I say, don't. Just do your own thing. I've also linked the Blazing Brush collection by Marcella Bustamante. Amazing face painter, and for as long as I've been buying professional face painting brushes, I love hers the best. I also am going to give an honorable mention because I don't have her flat. I do have her 3/4 angled. The only thing about the angled is I found them very tricky to use at the beginning of my face painting career, so I steered clear of these for like 5 years. I tried them, didn't work for me. What did work for me are these Meron flats. The pack that I included on the link, that is also includes a flat, so you don't need to get this one, but I do love this one. I have like 5 of them in my kit. Like literally, I love this paintbrush. I am not using my flats quite as much anymore, but like, oh my gosh, do I love them. Ready? 1, 2, this one's dirty, 3, this is slightly larger, 4, and 5. So I literally have 5 of them. They're all just flats. The reason I liked this one was because it included, and I had the rest of them, which tells you how much of a fan I am. It included a round number 3, which is going to be great for little details, also swirls, and a number 4, which is a bit thicker, so just any larger outlining that you need to do, that's going to be a good one. And it includes a petal brush. The petal brushes are really cool because you can make flowers super quickly, and you are going to get asked for flowers a lot, not just from children, but actually from moms. And it's pretty easy to learn the technique of double dip flowers. Very much a crowd pleaser, if you will. If you have craft brushes at home, you're still going to be looking for the same sizes. So this is a way to save money if you already are into art. So you're going to be looking for a round brush that comes to a point. in a size, I would say number 2 or number 3. That's good for your outlines. Then you're looking for a round brush, again, one that kind of comes to a point or that you can shape into a point. I'd say any like medium size, so from a number 4, like this blazing brush one, all the way up to a number 6. Anything past a number 6, we don't really use in face painting very often. Next, you're looking for some kind of flat 3/4 to 1 inch. If you were exclusively painting children, get a 3/4 because they have really small faces. I really believe everybody should buy a petal brush. Now that we have our tools, let's talk about loading your paint and achieving the perfect consistency. Face painting requires a delicate balance of water to paint ratio, so you need to take your time to get it just right. A couple of ways that you can activate your face paint. So you're taking a completely dry cake and waking it up is what I say to the children when they ask me, why are you spraying water into your paint? Well, it works kind of like watercolors. So if I was to skip on the water and try and use my paints, I wouldn't be picking up any color. To activate your face paints, you are going to want to pick up, you don't have to, but I like to pick up the cake or the palette. And when it comes to black, I like to dip my brush into clean water and then dip it into my cake and swish it around a little bit. However, if I'm using a color, I'm going to take my spray bottle and spray it on my palette. Before an event or before a practice session, I will spray lightly over my entire palette just to kind of start to activate them and moisten them. You just need to take your paintbrush and swish it around. I would say if you're not sure, maybe swish it around like 10 to 15 times. And then at the very end, before you go to put it on your face, I like to do a little twisting motion. And on the side of the paint, wherever the wall is, I will use that to kind of get off some excess. Some people use a rag. I occasionally will use a rag, more so with 1-strokes. Then you will test it out on your arm. Once you test it out on your arm, because right now you're just focusing on getting the consistency right. Too much water can make your paint runny, while too little water can make it very difficult to work with. It's going to drag. You can tell it drags because you will not have a consistent line of paint. It will start to kind of splay a bit. Having the right tools at your disposal is essential for creating clean designs. And when I say clean designs, I am thinking like face, outline, highlights, glitter, bam. We are an efficiency machine. So don't be afraid to play around with different brush sizes and shapes to see what works best for you. I know I only featured 4 paintbrushes, but this is just a starting place. Like I said, I'm trying to get you guys a little kit to work with and practice with for under $100. If you're not ready to invest in face painting brushes, because I will say they are on the pricier side, go ahead and go to Michael's and buy a big pack and just see which ones you like. Once you know that you like that brush, buy the face paint version, and I promise you will see an instant improvement. Once you're comfortable with your materials, it's time to find some inspiration for your designs. Whether you're into animals, superheroes, or super girly designs, the possibilities are truly endless, but I would say don't restart the wheel. Go for some designs that already exist. You're welcome to take some from my collection. I, of course, borrow designs from other artists. I try to keep track of it by keeping screenshots on my phone of my references and always keeping their username in the screenshot. So that way, if I do paint it on a child or I choose to post it on Instagram, I can tag the original artist. Create a copy, but never use a painter's image without explicit permission. So what I'm saying is that if you paint Spider-Man, go ahead and post that on Instagram. If you did not paint the Spider-Man and you just take somebody else's photo and use it for your own marketing materials, that is not ethical and it's actually copyright infringement because the person who originally took the photo has ownership of that image's copyright. If you really want to, ask that artist and maybe tell them that after you finally have somebody ask to do that design, you're gonna take a photo and immediately replace it on your board. I think that's a like gray area way to get away with that. But of course, you need explicit permission and consent because it is not your art and it's not your copyright. Sketching out your ideas beforehand can help you visualize the final look and make any adjustments that you need before you actually go to the painting. Because a lot of times when I go on Pinterest, there are elements of designs that I really love, and there are other parts that I don't really love. So what I'm gonna do is gather up my references, put them into some kind of mood board or collage, wherever you would like to do that. And I'm going to look at that reference and then draw out my design before I go to paint a child. I want to have some kind of plan. This is us kind of envisioning what we want. Our style is not going to be the same as some random person's style on the internet, so drawing is a part of painting and it's a part of art. And if you're like, Ciara, I absolutely hate drawing, well, you need to find parts of drawing that you like and can tolerate, because you need to do it if you want to progress. Okay, so I did include a freebie word board. If you don't have any events coming up in your future, then just have it in your back pocket. Word boards are great because you get to simplify or create more elaborate designs depending on how busy your event is. I recommend prepping your simplest, easiest designs as your go-tos. So when you're drawing and sketching out the designs that you want, think about the simplest ones to begin with. Then in your photo album or on Instagram, have a saved album or collection that is of things that inspire you, a place that you want to be. Say you have a super simple butterfly that you know that you can do without a doubt. You should also, in your saved inspiration folder, have a more complex butterfly that you would like to try if you have more time. If you have a question, please leave a comment below and I will be sure to answer it. I may even make a video about it. I have a really small channel right now, so truly any comments you leave, I will see it and I will respond to. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I wish you a happy painting session. See you later, alligator, and please subscribe if you are interested in what I've been talking about.